Hey, top of the morning to you. Top of the morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. What it do, y'all? Y'all feeling good? Feeling fine? You know, every day's an adventure in this life, isn't it? As long as you stay up, just stay positive, take what comes your way, keep your eye to the light. It's going to be all right. That's what I think. Got my coffee. Today, contemplating the culture, as we always do. This is where we have culturally relevant conversations about a variety of topics from a global perspective. Today, I'm just reflecting a lot going on in the culture. Uh, you know, Diddy is on the run. Lizzo quit. We look on the social media, the music is just crazy in terms of content and lyrical content. And yeah, I don't know. We seem to be in a cultural conundrum in the face of all of the battles that we are faced with. So today I just wanted to, go through my Rolodex once again, call on my cultural scholars, and just kind of turn these things over. I really think the social media is a buzz with the whole news of Diddy's troubles here. The FBI raiding his home the other week, two homes, one in Miami, one in Los Angeles. And all these stories are coming out right now. Good grief, what's going on? So let's bring in our good friend, author, journalist, culture critic, all around good brother. Darryl James is here. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, black man. Good morning, my brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, man, look, I'm looking on your social media, and you must have the best meme if we might put a little humor to it. The diddler.
Yes,
Oh my
sir.
goodness! Wow, wow.
Well, I create memes, I cultivate memes, so I'm always throwing them out there every day.
Nice, nice, nice. Darryl, man. I mean, what is really, there's so much conversation behind the recent events surrounding, Sean Puffy Combs and the FBI raiding his houses, him taking off to the Caribbean or wherever he's at because he can. Now all kinds of stories, sex parties and trafficking and just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Why now? And what for? Who's behind this, in your opinion?
Well, there's no hidden agenda, hidden conspiracy. Once Cassie decided she had a bunch of stuff to say and threatened to say it, and he wrote her a check, all hell broke loose because other people were like, I want my check. And this is why I always say with him, with Cosby, with anybody else, stop writing these people checks because they're threatening to do something. Somebody threatened me, I'd be like, let's go. And whatever check you think you're getting is going to be spent on burying you legally. So he wrote that woman a check for a lot of money. He should have taken a team of attorneys and just had them stand on her head, because once he cut that check, and he cut it quickly, everybody else wanted their money. People who didn't even have anything to do with anything, they were like, yeah, did he touch me at the party? Yeah. And that's what this is about. This isn't some, people like, oh, they're out to get him because he's a rich black man. Nobody gives a doggone about this bonehead. He's been out there fumbling around, being goofy and weird for a long time.
Well, it's funny. I heard a conversation that made a little bit of sense to me. Is like, when he started making strong stands to support, um, Black causes, putting funds together for Black business and, Black empowerment. Then all of a sudden, these charges began to surface. What do you think
But
about
was
that?
he?
That
But was
spirit?
he really? What Black causes? What Black empowerment? Was he
Uh,
really? That's not who that man is. That's
hmm
not him. So
hmm
there was no outside impetus. There was no hidden agenda. He cut her a check and people wanted theirs. Is
People
that?
light it up.
That's it. That's it.
He's the lottery ticket.
He's the lottery ticket. He's the annuity. They're trying to cash in
Mhm.
because he's been doing goofy, weird stuff for a long time. I mean, the first time we knew was in the late 90s. I don't know if you remember this, when Wendy Williams then was on the radio before she got her ignorant TV show. She basically talked about how she had a picture of him in a sexual situation with the guy who was running his record company.
Uh,
That was the beginning of the internet,
I remember
pre-social
that. I
media,
remember
where
that.
she created a website and put that picture up. It was a
Yeah.
real picture.
Yeah. Wow.
So we knew what time it was. People knew that Usher's parents had basically signed him over to Diddy.
Mhm.
Usher's 14, 15 and living with this man. Like, what are you doing? So
Mhm.
there were all kind of weird, creepy situations. We heard about him being creepy with Mace. I mean, we heard it. We heard it. Nobody really conspired to, hey, let's get out here and destroy this dude and expose everything. But like I said, once Cassie got her check and everybody else started talking because they wanted theirs, now the authorities are like, let's see what's going on. Because
Mhm.
now some of the stuff people are saying, they're like, oh well, wait, hang on, these are crimes.
Mhm. Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know. And then there's the
Mhm.
one guy who apparently is neighbor out here in L.A. And we saw him in the video when when the feds were raiding his home.
Mhm.
This guy said, "Yeah, well, I'm glad something is being done about it because he brings busloads of children in at 3 in the morning."
Wow.
I'm like,
Wow.
what?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I don't know the man. I just, like I said, you hear about the weird, creepy stuff. Some of it about when he was with Kim Porter or whatever her last name is. Kim, I think it's Porter.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, so she had a child by I'll Be Sure. I'll Be Sure signed over his parental rights to Puffy. And
Wow.
so his underage child was living with him. Like I said, Usher as a child, his parents gave him the Puffy. Basically, I mean,
Mhm.
so it was a lot of weird stuff. But there's no hidden agenda. He's not that guy. He's
Mhm.
not a civil rights leader. He's not out here trying to change the game. He's
Mhm.
just a goofy cat that's out there trying to have fun.
It's interesting that, as I reflect back to those times in the 90s, I remember Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo was his squeeze. And then
Mhm.
after, I guess after a shooting is when she was like, I'm out, and I had already always assumed that it was because, he was around sort of that gangster type element, back in those days they were beefing with Death Row and all that kind of stuff was happening. I always thought that maybe, that's why she said, okay, I'm gone. But now that all of this is coming out, I'm saying she's probably saw some stuff too,
She
in
may
those
have
days.
seen something and she was like, I don't want to be tainted by it because she had a
Mm.
career to protect. I mean, we don't know. We
Mhm,
don't know.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Now, do you think to generally in the culture, because everybody's talking about this. I saw Joy Reid and then what's the brother's name? Torre was on there, and he said he had a relative that signed up for an internship with Bad Boy, and he shared that there was a email or some sort of message from Diddy to this relative that said, "Hey, come and spend the night at my house, and if you don't, consider the internship over." And he was like, "I found that inappropriate," so he didn't go and spend the night. And guess what? Internship was over. And
That's
so
right.
this was just on the Joy Reid show. I mean, so there's some credence to the crazy behavior that happens around Diddy and everything. I think generally
Absolutely.
for the culture, like it's maybe just because I'm old or I don't know, but I'm just saying it just damages the culture to me when we see these types of things constantly happening. When we see these things, when they do happen, they're lifted up to the light. Rarely do we see the people who are trying to contribute and advance and improve our culture. We always see in the mainstream this debauchery that's happening. We're hearing the music is crazy right now. It's like,
Sure.
man, isn't our culture being damaged by this?
Well, yes, in as much as this BS that's going on right now is culture. I mean, I
Mm,
don't think, a lot of this popular music. I don't. That's not our culture. That's not who we
mhm,
are. That's just the
mhm,
music people are playing. Because remember, Greg, that up until like the end of the '90s, Black culture dictated popular culture. We
yeah.
created it. They took it. You know. Then it got to a point where the end of the '90s, they started creating what they said was
Mhm,
Black culture and then handing it over to us. And
mhm,
that's why our music is so goofy, it's so ignorant because it's not really ours. So
mhm,
some of us are doing it, but they created a space where they could do exactly what they're doing, which is control that whatever that is, that
mhm,
music, but that's not Black culture anymore. That's
mhm,
not who we are. I mean, we look at some of it, it used to be that art imitates life, but now life is imitating art
mhm,
because we see, and that's why I'm able to say it isn't our culture, because Black women, for example, back in the civil rights struggle, even white people admitted that Black women were America's moral compass,
mhm,
right? And so,
mhm.
how do we go to 30 something years later? And now you can't open up social media without a sister turning around and busting it open in your face.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's it's wild. And as a healthy heterosexual male who has a healthy appetite for the African American female physique, it has become disgusting
Yes,
because
brother.
I'm like, come on, that's all you doing is wagging your ass at
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that's not our culture. That is life imitating art. If you call it art, that is a culture that has been created and then handed back to us. And now we think that's ours, but it's not.
Mhm,
That's not who we
mhm,
are.
mhm,
That's not who
mhm,
we
mhm.
are. That's not who Black women are. But I mean, that's who they appear to be now because they're jumping in it like it's their damn birthright.
But yeah, 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 yeah. I heard a preacher talking about, booties ain't real anyway.
And that whole thing, we're looking at Sarah Bartman all over, right? The sister who,
Mhm,
was
mhm.
paraded around because of her, her behind. And I'm like, we understand, and people can get mad at this. We know who would get mad. We
Right.
understand why white women were doing the BBLs.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
made sense because, you can go all the way back to the 1800s. That's what the bustle was for, the
Sure.
springs in the dress, so it would make it look like they actually had something back there.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I got into an argument a few years ago and I stopped speaking to this fool and his whole crew because they were trying to argue with me. No, white women have evolved. That ain't surgery. That I'm like,
Oh, wow.
dude, do you know how ignorant you sound? Evolution doesn't happen over a couple of decades. If
Mhm,
we go back to the 80s, 99.999% of white women have flat asses.
mhm,
You're not
mhm.
going to tell me that 20 years later, now they're all just booming and banging? Get out of here. And so I'm saying that to say with them, it's understood why they're doing it. But with black women, I'm like, you are the prototype. You are
Yes.
the universally accepted archetype, prototype symbol for what is physically beautiful.
Right. Yeah.
So to take that and then enhance it, and they look like clowns,
Yeah. Yeah.
cartoons. That's why I like that one internet song. It's not, I don't even think it's a whole song. Say, those BBLs are killing y'all, and the thighs don't match because they look
Yeah.
like letter P, skinny
Yeah.
legs, and then this big. I'm like, and it's not sexy.
Yeah.
It's not attractive. It looks absolute. But again, that is life imitating art. That is artificial culture being handed to a people who have accepted it as their own. But that's not our culture.
The Nintendo babies are doing all this. It's hard for me to even wrap my brain around that sisters are even doing this. I mean,
Yeah.
I just really, I'm like, wait, what? you know,
Yeah.
it's it's so funny that you talk about that because God did bless the black woman with. I mean, I know people are gonna get mad at what I'm about to say, especially in this day and age. But this is the time where you have the whole like even the trans community, right? And I just think that there's an essence of the black woman that can never be captured, imitated, duplicated. It just
Absolutely.
cannot. It
Not in its
is
purest form.
divinely given.
Yeah. Can't touch
Yeah,
this. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll share with you, man, on my trips to Africa, brother Darryl. You go down there to the Zulu Kingdom, and ooh, yikes! You can see our heritage. In this space that we're talking about, you definitely can
Yeah.
see. Wow, God did bless the black woman. God bless the black woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're talking about booties. Now, what about our girl Lizzo? Lizzo said she quits because she, was tired of the hate she was getting and everything like that. And now here's a woman who, emerged on the scene because she was, I guess, empowering the big women. Uh, okay, I'm just saying this is how she came on, right?
Right. Right.
So, uh, her booty out everywhere. I mean, come on, man. Like, how does that empower culture? Now, I did hear a report this morning that said she came out with some more social media posts trying to clarify her position. But
She's so full of shit. She's so full of it, man. I mean, I've never liked her. I think she's a joke. I think she's a pander artist. I really, really, really dislike her. I think that she has done a worse job at advocating for big girls than Monique did. Because Monique, her whole shtick was, oh yeah, skinny bitches, y'all ain't blah 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 blah, until she lost weight to try to become a skinny bitch.
yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah.
changed.
She did
But
back that one up, didn't she?
right. So with Lizzo, it's like, first off, she's got a pretty face, but her body is a hot, messy bag of garbage. She is disgusting. She is depraved, demented. She is a foul human being. And we saw how foul, depraved, and demented she was when she was at a public event, the NBA game, little children out there, and she pulled that giant ass out. And I'm like, first off, it wasn't sexy. Like, it isn't round. It's just flat and wide because she's morbidly obese. She's not a big girl. She's not fat. She's not, a BBW. She's a fat, nasty, unhealthy roach. Like, she's just not a good person. So when she announced I quit, it is because she really has a thin skin. Because we saw her before responding to what people were saying, and she was crying, a tee, a tee, and they tried to turn back around. So I think this time she probably read some comments on a post. She went into the comments, which you're not supposed to do if you're a public person. She went to the comments and she saw how many people despised her. And, flipped her out. She's like, "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore." And so she said, "I quit." But I think after she said the "I quit" piece, I think her manager, some other people were like, "Look at, these concert numbers. We're going to go back on tour. There's money you're leaving on the table. So, you shouldn't have quit." She's like, "Oh, money. Oh, psych. I was just playing. I meant I'm going to quit the negativity." I really want her to go away, man, because she's that life imitating art, because she isn't real. Her message isn't real, but she's out there putting it out there. And so you've got women, big girls who are like, "Yeah, Lizzo." And I'm like, Lizzo don't like you, baby. Because Lizzo don't like herself.
Yeah, she's got even her crew is, I guess there's enough evidence there where it's going to go to trial now, where the people were saying, she's got a toxic work environment.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, I don't know Lizzo, so I'm not really, I'm just like everybody else, got my popcorn on the sideline, and this is, I see the headlines and everything, but I do surmise that maybe, my sister is an angry woman because of her size, and all that, because I think one, like you said, the level of obesity right there, I'm not body shaming, but I'm just saying, a lot of times people are, they have food addictions or whatever happens where that is definitely an unhealthy, lifestyle. And I'm just a fitness person, so I'm just telling you what I feel. I feel like, a lot of people may grow to that size and then become angry, from a very granular soul level, because they're looked at, they get the stares, they get the, it's a lot to it to be carrying around a lot of that weight and all that. And I think for her, maybe she manifested, and now she gets success, and now she's mean to everybody.
Well, let's do this first. Let's stop saying body shaming. That is such an ignorant phrase, because these people who are using it are the ones who probably should be ashamed. Lizzo should be ashamed of herself. So there's no body shaming. These are people who are not in good shape and they look bad. And big women, especially big black women, we've known in the past that the big black woman would dress nice. She's very, very sweet, and most of them, because most black women are pretty. So they were pretty, they dressed nice. And so that's why they never had a problem getting a man. But when you take a fat bag of shit like Lizzo, and it's like you're all cellulite, there's nothing delightful about your body. You're horrible, and you keep pulling that giant ass out. You should be ashamed. So the whole body shame, and I'm like, nah, she should be ashamed. She should be embarrassed. She should be like, she should be in horror knowing what she's doing and who she's doing it to. It's bad. It's bad.
Wow, this is very interesting. I want to ask you about another artist. So this artist, Sexy Red, what's the big deal with her?
Same thing, man. Sexy Roach is a concoction. Somebody created that thing, because it's not like she came up rhyming and had a following and then just blew up. She basically popped out with a song, and then boom, she started doing tours, and that was it. It was manufactured. It was completely manufactured, because that's where we are now. It's really hard to find the organic artists who are like really good, and even some of the ones who are trash, who work hard, get a following, and then blow up. That's not what Sexy Roach did. She basically just came out of nowhere, but she said some horrifyingly nasty stuff, and that, people, especially the media, jumped on it. Because I have a friend who says we're in a race to the bottom and we're all winning.
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
They're trying to see how far down they can go. And I think we're almost at rock bottom, because I knew when that filthy roach Cardi B, when she started out saying, I'm not black, and she called black women roaches.
Mm-hmm.
She literally said that black women were roaches. She wasn't black. But then she starts making songs with goofy messages that black women like. So they liked her. And then she was like, oh, yeah, I am black. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm black.
Yeah.
You know, but she's nasty. Her and Megan, who did WAP. I'm like, so you're going to make a song basically saying your body works. Because if it's wet, that's biology.
Yeah.
But you saying some really disgusting, nasty, base level stuff, and now people are identifying with it who previously would not have. Black women, before we started this whole descent into the rabbit hole, they would not have approved this.
Yeah.
This isn't who black women truly are. And I think that's why it's sad, because they've accepted it. So if you say anything, the pushback is, oh, you don't want women to be free. That's not freedom, baby. Yeah. Because now the entire world is looking at you as a low-level prostitute.
Yeah.
Right.
That song right there, we really need to examine that, because the timing of the song being released and shooting to number one when it did, it was everywhere, right? It was the number one record at a time where George Floyd had just been murdered. We were out in these streets, protesting for our lives, Black Lives Matter, we were saying, and all of this stuff was going on. We were in the pandemic and all of that. And then I think in Revolution, music takes an important role in that. Like, we can go back to every single movement for social justice. Songs of freedom were essential. And then right at the height of this stuff, like at the height of it, here comes WAP. I was just like, wait, what are we talking about here? I was shocked and appalled. I really was. I was like, wait, no, not now.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what shocked me, and people have become angry at me, but they can kiss my black ass. What shocked me and really let me know where our leadership, so-called leadership, is when your girl, people are gonna be so angry. An octogenarian, I'm dropping hints, an octogenarian senator.
Oh, wait, which one? My girl? Okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to get you to say her name.
Wait, not my auntie, though.
Who?
Who? You said senator.
Wait, she's not a senator anymore. No. She's been through all of that. But you know who I'm talking about.
Okay, well, go ahead. Tell me, say her name. Wait. Maxine? Auntie Maxine?
She ain't my auntie. So the problem,
Maxine, dude, that's my friend right there. Come on.
So you're probably going to be mad, but I'm going to say it. When she was hanging out with Cardi B and Megan and talking about how she had a WAP, I'm like, sister,
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I'm like, you are 1,000,000 years old. You don't even have a WAP anymore. It's dust. What are you talking about? Like, and why are you, a woman who was a stately Black woman, you are an elder stateswoman, came through the civil rights era when Black women, like I said, were the moral compass of America, and now you're talking about your vagina's wet? That was horrifying to me.
I gotta look that one up there, Darryl James, because I missed that one. That's my friend, though. Auntie Maxine, that's my friend right there.
Hey, well, your friend is 1,000,000 years old and embraced WAP and said she had a WAP. And I was just like, what are you doing? It's bad.
The move, yeah, that was a bad one for me. And I think the move, so I'm listening to what you're saying here. And so, so desperate for female empowerment that we embrace what on the surface are the wrong messages.
Because it's not female empowerment. Because what
Right.
that song and that whole movement, all of those women who were involved in that, they basically told the world, hey, we're prostitutes. Give
Hmm.
us money. We're prostitutes. And listen, talking about prostitute culture, that's where dating is now, Greg. Dating, we're not dating anymore. It's prostitution. It's hardcore prostitution because as a journalist, as a researcher, I've always been a fan of watching trends and watching things develop, because most of us, most Americans, but certainly most Black people, we are not aware of what is happening. We don't know where things are coming from. We think things are just happening. We don't understand that we're being seeded. Our good friend and idol Stevie Wonder talked about it in a song many moons ago, um, um, Master Blaster Jammin', where he said they couldn't culture seed us if they tried, right?
Hmm.
We don't
Hmm.
even talk about that anymore. People don't even know what that is.
Hmm.
Culture seeding is when people take, and we know what people, white people, the dominant culture that is trying to manipulate our culture, take a message, put it in our culture, seed it, and it grows, and we think it's organic, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So the prostitute culture includes the way women are dressing now, ass out. I just saw a clip of the video from Beyonce's Texas Hold'em, where her entire breasts are out. It's pulled apart, and just the nipples are covered. And when you look, it looks like breasts are just out all over social media. The new trend now, we're watching twerking going from chicks will just, and it started with a lot of African sisters, but now in America they're doing it where they walk into the camera, lift their dress up, and then start dancing. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
like, what are you gonna do next? Just walk out naked? Yes, because now we're seeing there's this one woman, she's a light skinned sister, and I say that because she's starting a trend that I'm now seeing dark skinned sisters do, where she has on a t-shirt, nothing else, and then she sneezes, pulls her shirt up, achoo, and she's got on a sheer uh, undergarment, and you can see her breasts. They're just there. You can see her panties. You just so that, and she's like, like it's funny. That's part of the prostitute culture. The most insidious part of the prostitute culture, which is going to deeply damage our marriage rate, is that now Black women are asking essentially to get paid for dating. You go on first dates. Number one, I don't do coffee. You got to spend at least 100, 200. I do 5-star dating. Go to hell. We going to coffee. We're going for a walk. But that's what they're doing. But here's the worst part. They're asking for providers. Now it sounds to some goofballs like oh, that's no problem. It's when have we been providers, Greg? That's not who we are. We have always had partnerships
Yeah.
because that's what a marriage is.
Yeah.
And so we came out of slavery. And the only reason why Black people still exist is because we were partners. We had a strong woman who matched us. We couldn't do a lot of jobs, so we had to go travel. That's why I hate when people say, oh, you're saying that Mexicans are taking your jobs. Go pick fruit. We were picking fruit. Damn it, that's who we are. We went from cotton to fruit to whatever. But so Black men were picking fruit, we were Pullman porters, we were, janitors, whatever. Black women were babysitting other people's kids. They were cooking and selling food for people. They were washing clothes. Black women weren't sitting at home chilling, talking about I got a provider.
Right.
That's not our history. But the last 7 years, that's all, I would say, in the dating realm. I'm not saying it's all Black women, But in the dating realm, for me, as a single brother, that's all I hear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this, and then you can go ahead and steer the conversation where you want it. But last month I was dating this woman, beautiful young lady, 37, great shape. I thought she was a sweetheart, the whole shot. But everything unraveled when she said, "Yeah, I'm looking for." She's got 2 kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 children, and she said, "Yeah, because I'm looking for a provider so I can just raise my kids." And I'm thinking to myself, I got a kid, you got 2 kids. Because I'm dating you, you want me to suddenly take on 3 people
Mm.
and take care of those additional 3 people? But here's the kicker, Greg. Her father was an emotionally abusive man who didn't work that much. She ended up being with a man for 20 years who ended up giving her 2 children. He didn't really work that much. He
Mm.
was emotionally abusive. So you find a man who's the kind of man you want doing his thing. I'm a single father. I'm taking care of my son on my own. We're doing our thing. And now you want to be a provider? Now you don't want to work?
Mm-hmm.
But the 20 years with that dude, you take care of him. So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
These women
sure,
are
sure.
asking us to be provided. And these aren't, like, she was 37. These aren't women who are 22, 23 who are saying, "Oh, I just want to have a bunch of babies. I'll cook and clean and, drop my clothes whenever you ask me to, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be nice to you and I'll massage you." These are women who've been out there working. They got kids. Even if they don't got kids, they're probably over 40 and can't have kids. A provider? Are you retarded? So I always tell them,
Right.
try him, but don't try me.
That's right. That's right.
That's
But listen,
prostitution. They try to
let's
get
let's take a couple of steps back here. We were talking about the you were talking about the outfits, so Beyonce and then the people on Instagram and stuff like that, and you made kind of a connection to Africa, and what we call twerking has a little different connotation in African culture. They move
yes
their
and
booty.
no.
Oh
Yes
no,
and
no, I'm
no.
just telling. I'm just telling you. One thing that I do want to say, I was on this particular trip. I was in the Zulu Kingdom, and we were attending a music award show, red carpet affair, all of that. Very traditional. There were kings there. I mean, it was really off the chain. And a part of the ceremony was there was a parade, and this is part of Zulu culture. And then as the marching band came, also came the maidens of the region. That was, we'll call them the maidens, and all
Yeah.
of them were topless, right? And
Mhm.
so I remember some of my friends over there saying, you Americans look at toplessness like it's a sex crime, and it's not like that, and
Sure.
and I really thought that was really interesting to hear their perspective, right? This is,
Yeah.
they really called us out. You guys are pornographic, nasty-minded people. This is not how we look at this thing. And then with social media, we every year there's a ceremony in that region called the Reed Dance, where women come from all over, and it's a rites of passage, if you will. The king is there, all this, and they're all topless, right? And so on the news, because I watched the African news, they were complaining because they get censored by social media, and they're saying this is like one of the proudest moments of our lives, and we can't post ourselves because we're topless, 'cause we get censored by, Google, Facebook, and all of the social media giants, and they're taking away a big part of our lifestyle and everything, So there's
Yeah.
like a different global perspectives, I think, on nudity or whatever,
But
morality.
no, and you're absolutely right that there are different cultural perspectives, even with, the Europeans, and the way that they view sex and sexuality. But here's the problem. The problem is that that's not what these women are doing in
Right.
America. This isn't some cultural celebration. Let's call it is purely sexual.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
is. They're not
Hypersexual.
It's hypersexual. These women in America are not celebrating, this is our dance and this is what we're doing, celebrate they're saying, look at me, don't you want some? Give me some money. That's what they're saying. And so
And
I
that's why
mentioned
you call it prostitute
it's prostitute
culture.
culture. And so I mentioned the African women that I saw who were dancing and they were the first ones to, pull a dress up and show their panties. That's not a cultural celebration.
Yeah.
That is sex. And so there's a difference. And so the Africans who say, yeah, Americans are sexualized and blah, blah, they're absolutely right. And because that is part of our depraved culture here, it is insane for Black women or any other woman, but it's mostly Black women, to play into that. Because like I said, this isn't Black women saying, yeah, so when they make the connection, oh, well, we twerked in Africa. You didn't. That's not what you're doing. Right. You're not connecting it to that. You're not talking about African. Some of these women who say that don't even want to be called African American. So, you're not, there is a delineation. It is not the same.
It's very interesting you use that example, because what I think the young African American sisters don't know. So I went to Afrochella in Ghana, and nice. I mean, first of all, off the chain, okay. But what I learned, because at that point when I went to Afrochella, I had spent a month and a half in Ghana. I had an apartment down there, and I was Ubered around, so I was entrenched in the daily life. What they don't know is the Ghanaian people really, 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 really did not appreciate the African American women and how they dress. They did not. It was because on their.
It's different.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
Not the same.
Yeah,
there are cultural differences. That's my point.
Yeah, they did not like it.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying, so when people try to say, oh, in Africa they twerk, that's not what they're doing. Right. They're not like bending it over, busting it open so they can get attention, likes, and money. That really is a cultural situation. This is
dancing with a purpose.
Huh?
Dancing with a purpose.
Yeah. I mean, so there is very little difference from in a natural community dancing, adorning themselves with feathers and colors, to do a festive situation, and somebody just bending over saying, look up my two holes, look in there and see what you see, and then give me some money. Not the same.
How does stripper culture, I guess we're talking about the same thing. So stripper culture / prostitute culture, how did that get so to the forefront?
Through the music. Mm-hmm. Through the music, because when you start looking at the female rappers who came out after like 2005, just hoes, man, and that's all they talking about. Give me some money, put your face down there, and just that's it, and wearing nothing and emphasizing, their body, and just that's all it's been. That's all it's been in the music. And so the music then has created a culture, a subculture, if you will, that is now becoming popular Black culture. That's just, where we are. Because you have women, I'll tell you my aha moment. I'm an alpha man, Dr. King's fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha, our sister sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, they have always been, cream of the crop, beautiful, intelligent, educated. I went to their convention. This had to be like maybe 2009, whatever, whenever Cardi B's song first came out, right? And I'm standing there with a couple of Qs and a couple of Kappas. We were talking about, oh, she's beautiful, blah, 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 blah. Cardi B's song came on, cleared the dance floor, and all the ladies ran to the dance floor and bent over and knew every word. Love it, you can't. And we stood there horrified.
Wow.
Like these are doctors, attorneys, engineers, and they're out on the dance floor reciting one of the most base, demented, just nasty songs, bent over.
Mm.
And here we are, heterosexual men who they think we're like, ooh, that's sexy. We're like, that's disgusting. And the Qs, they were joking with me. They're like, well, you guys were first. Those are your sisters. You're the leaders, alphas. Go fix it. Go fix it. I'm like, no, brother, we can't fix this. They
Wow.
gotta fix it. That's when I got my aha moment that this wasn't about, like, so we can go back to the 90s with Trina, Kaya, we can go back, Lil Kim. The average black woman wasn't rocking with that. They might rock with the music because, like Lil Kim, dope, right?
Yeah.
But they weren't trying to be Little Kim. They're
Foxy
like, oh,
Brown.
She nasty.
Yeah.
Because black women were still up here.
Sure.
But now it's not, I like her music, but she's nasty. It's like, oh yeah, that's me. Let me bend over. Like, that's where we've gotten to. And you can't tell these sisters anything. And that's why it's so bad, because, the brother was joking, the Q was joking, saying, brother, you got to fix this. You can't. Because if you say anything, they attack. There's no communication. So we've got to create a situation where we start working with our youth. Because I can tell you this, talking to a lot of black fathers across the country, these young black men, there's an element that is starting to change. And I saw it with my son and his friends. They don't like that. I remember in 6th grade, there was a woman, she ended up living down, a young woman living down the street from us. And he saw her, he said, oh, she goes to my school. I was like, you're not going to speak to her? No, we don't deal with her. She twerks. In 6th grade.
Wow.
And that's where they still are. They're him and his friends. They don't like women who twerk. They don't like the women who try to dress nasty, say nasty stuff. And they're like 16. He's about to turn 17. Some of his friends are 18. And I talked to brothers across so the young brothers, there's an element that is starting to change because they don't like that. They don't want that. We gotta try to take that seed and plant it and let that become part of what takes us back to our original culture.
Okay, so bringing it full circle, we started the conversation, talking about, Diddy's situation. And so, I'm just thinking as we're, given this whole rundown and this culture that is permeated. And I think that behind the scenes, these labels that have exploded, like a Bad Boy, like even, Death Row, all that. I mean, their little parties off the chain here. I know, look, we've been in the industry a long time. I don't know about you, but there's been a couple parties I walked in and walked right back out. Like,
me and you both.
Yo.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I learned early on is, depending on the kind of party it is, you better take a lady with you.
Yeah.
I learned that early on.
Truth.
Because there was some stuff going on in there that you just didn't want people to even approach you with.
True. Well, let me ask you, so like, in Diddy's case, or in a lot of people's case, at some point in time, the women were with it. The guys were with it because they were, hypnotized by the drug of being all up in this music industry.
That's right.
And then I guess they gotten mature and they have, remorse. And so that's where the lawsuits come in.
Well, they don't have any remorse. Let's keep it all the way a buck, man. I'm gonna keep it funky with you, brother. They don't have any remorse. They basically just want money. That's all it is. It's a money grab.
It's a money grab.
That's what they're dealing with. They want money. They've created a situation where they know what they did. They did it willingly. And now that they realize that, some people are getting checks, they want their check. It was the same thing with Cosby. When he started passing out checks, then women were like, give me my check. And then once he stopped passing out checks, then he went to court. So that's what this is about. I would hesitate, unless they are under 18, I would hesitate to call anyone a victim of Diddy. A victim. You grown, you knew what you were doing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you did a
Mm-hmm.
deal with
Mm-hmm.
the devil, and the devil wants to dance. You know,
I guess some of the conversation is that maybe some of the people weren't of age, right? And so that's where the
that's the only
trafficking comes
conversation
in.
we should entertain. That
Uh-huh.
the only two conversations we should entertain is if they were underage or if they were drugged. Because
Mm-hmm.
one of these record company folks was saying, I can't remember his name. I think he's a rapper or a producer. He was saying that he went to one of the Diddy parties and Diddy basically took the champagne and was drugging it. You
Wow.
know, so I'm
Wow.
like, if in fact that's true and that comes out to be proven, then yeah, he's in trouble.
Yeah.
And the fact that he took off and ran, that was his first response to take off
That was
and
a bad
run.
look right there.
Yeah, so
That was a
he's
bad
back.
look.
Yeah, he's back now, trying to chill and act like everything's okay. But you ran, brother.
And then here comes Darryl James with the diddler. That was a good
The
one.
diddler. I'll get you, Batman. Come to my party. Take that. Take that.
Oh, that was a good one.
The diddler. Yes,
Wow.
sir.
I mean, I was trying not to laugh about this situation, but that one made me just crack up. I was like,
Hey
oh
man,
boy.
it's all funny to me. It's
Yeah.
funny to me. So I'm
Wow.
gonna laugh because, like I said, this isn't some stellar human being. He's not a
Mhm.
civil rights leader. He's not a black activist. He's just out for himself, making his money, having fun, living a good life. So
Mhm.
whatever happens, happens. I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care.
All right, Darryl
Yeah.
James. Man,
Well, that's
great
where
conversation
we
this
are, brother.
morning. We really examining culture and I just say cultural conundrum here, and I'm just looking
Yeah.
for a path towards redemption. What are the solutions? And I guess it would take generations at this point to really begin to um, adjust our or take control of the narrative of who we are.
No, it only takes one. See, here's the thing about humanity that a lot of us miss. If you study physics,
Hmm.
then in physics you learn that all systems are self-correcting,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
and
Hmm. Hmm.
we're a
All
system.
systems are self-correcting. Uh-huh.
It's gonna self-correct, and that's
Yeah.
yeah. They're trying to do it differently. That is the system self-correcting because this isn't
Hmm.
natural. This isn't who we are. This isn't who we've
Hmm.
been. These things that people are making up, the women who want to get paid. I need a provider. Black men used to provide. Like, what are you talking
Hmm.
about? That isn't even real. Yeah,
Hmm.
I can twerk. We were twerking in Africa. No, we weren't. That wasn't twerking. That's not what that was for. Stop making stuff up. We are in an era, and it's the men too. I don't want to make it seem like it's just the women. The women are asking to be prostituted out, but a lot of these men are tricks and they want to be
Yeah.
tricked.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why you hear these
Yeah.
cats, oh, I don't mind providing. I'll provide for a woman. Yeah, because you're funny looking, you're fat, you're stupid, and you can't get a woman who's, a decent woman. So of course you'll pay. That's why it's
Yeah.
prostitution. Because
Wow.
the decent brothers who are making good money, living good lives, they're not walking up to women, hey, I can provide for you. Unless she's young and beautiful,
Yeah. Yeah.
then they
Yeah.
might do it. But you're some 40, 50-year-old out of shape chick with multiple baby daddies, angry, bad attitude. And why are we the N word so
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
especially coming from black women?
Yeah.
That's
That's coming.
crazy.
That's a whole nother. We got to have another whole nother show on that one.
Absolutely, because I can
Yeah.
go through the evolution of where it came from and then when it started to flip and all of that. Because we don't even think, we just think this is where we've been. Oh, we've been calling each other that forever. Yeah, but
Right.
we didn't invite others to come in and call us that
That's right.
and then try to make a
Yeah.
delineation. Oh no, he said Nigga, but no, he put the ER.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
ignorant. But that's that
Yeah.
race,
Yeah.
man. Race to the
Yeah.
bottom, and we're all
Race to
winning.
the bottom.
And we're all
So,
winning,
James,
man.
how can we get a hold of you, man?
My email, Darryl@rapsheet.com, DARRYL, Darryl@rapsheet.com. My office, which is Tenacious Books and Rapsheet, 1-800-481-0016.
Yeah. Darryl James, y'all. Wow, what a great conversation. We're in the cultural conundrum, y'all. This is,
Yes, sir.
hey, that's what's going on there. Coffee Conversations, you can hear us on, our Facebook page, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Our website, Beat City Radio, beatcityradio.com. We repurposed the audio for podcasting, and that's on every podcast platform you can imagine: Spotify, Spreaker, iHeart, Apple, Google. Just type in there Coffee Conversations with Greg J, and you will find us. Thank you so much for listening to us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, love one another, love one another, love one another. Peace and blessings.